A warning now that what you're about to hear is very distressing. Today, an Afghan illegal immigrant was found guilty of abducting and raping a 12-year-old girl in Nuneaton. Ahmad Mulakhil was convicted of one count of rape following a 10-day trial at Warwick Crown Court. Now, he was cleared of a second count of rape and had already admitted to a charge of oral rape. He was also convicted of child abduction, 2 counts of sexual assault and taking indecent photos of a child. Another man was cleared of attempting to take a child, committing an offence with intent to commit a sexual offence and intentional strangulation. The illegal immigrant arrived on a small boat across the Channel. He'd been in Britain just 4 months before raping a child. He'd been living in a house of multiple occupancy, which has no security. Mulakhil first spotted the 12-year-old schoolgirl playing on the swings in a park playground. He lured her down a secluded cul-de-sac before repeatedly raping her and filming the attack. In a videotaped statement, the girl said this: "He was trying to strip my clothes off. He said nothing. He was laughing. I was saying, 'Get off me,' but he didn't say anything. He just carried on. He was saying that he was going to kill my family. I was scared. He took photos. It felt weird. Why was he taking pictures of that?" The girl actually clutched onto fidget toys during her police interviews and used wooden models to reenact the rape. Yep, saying that he was going to take pictures of her as well. Anyway, this is the moment that the Afghan illegal migrant monster was arrested.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, my colleague's just going to say something to you in a second, so listen to what he's going to say.
Okay, so the time is now 03:57. You were under arrest on suspicion of rape and kidnap of a female in Nuneaton between 8 and 10 p.m. on Tuesday, the 22nd of the 7th, 2025. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention, when questioned, something which you later on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. This arrest is necessary for the prompt and effective investigation of the offence and to protect a vulnerable person.
What's your name?
Ahmad.
Ahmad. Okay. Ahmad, can you sit up for me? Have you got clothes on, yeah?
No.
Yeah, you've got clothes on. Stand by.
You might remember that Warwickshire Police were accused of trying to cover up the nationality and immigration status of that attacker. In fact, Reform's 19-year-old council leader George Finch felt so strongly that the public had a right to know about the fact that an illegal immigrant had just raped a 12-year-old that he went public with the information at a Reform press conference.
The thing is, I was begging for this to be released. Screaming, phoning, asking it to be released. I sent an email, afternoon, Monica, the CEO of Warwickshire County Council. After hearing the news and reading your email regarding the 12-year-old girl who was raped by an asylum seeker who lives in a HMO in Stockingford in Nuneaton, my hometown, I think transparency is needed, and the people of Nuneaton and the wider Warwickshire area have a right to know who the man is and his background.
Of course, once people found out, there were large protests from, I think, understandably angry locals in Nuneaton. Can I just say that if people watching this are more annoyed about the public protests than they are about the rape of a 12-year-old girl, then they need their heads checking. But do you know how they caught this attacker, Mulakhil? They caught him because he used his Home Office-issued Aspen debit card to pay for the drinks he bought her after he attacked her. The cards are preloaded with weekly amounts, usually £49, for asylum seekers to spend on essential items in shops. The British taxpayers paid for the drinks that he bought a 12-year-old after he raped her. I mean, how grim is that? I mean, this is happening all the time. all the time. This Labour government says it's going to shut the migrant hotels. Now, loads of councils have said they want to take part in a scheme that will see new homes built specifically for asylum seekers. I mean, how many more 12-year-old girls will be raped and abused as a result of that? Let's get thoughts from my panel. We've got Tory MP Esther McVeigh, GBNews contributor Will Kingston and political commentator Jonathan Liss. Yeah, Will, I'll start with you. I mean, it's just an absolutely devastating story, this, from start to finish, isn't it?
Patrick, this rape, as with every rape and murder committed by an illegal migrant, ultimately results from a choice made by government. It's not a result of incompetence. It's not a result of the wrong policy being chosen. This isn't an impossible or unforeseeable problem, because we know that offshore processing and detention can stop these sorts of crimes. Even if you don't believe that, detaining these people once they are in the country realistically means that they would not be out in the community, they would not be able to rape young girls, which makes this evil. I'm at the point now where I think we need to hold politicians who enable these sorts of policies criminally negligent for the crimes of these illegal migrants, because we know that there is a way that you can stop this from happening. And the fact that they will not stop this from happening to pursue whatever weird ideology they have to allow migrants to roam through these communities is evil. And this is a criminal matter now in my eyes.
Esther, this guy was in a HMO, house of multiple occupancy, which means that there's no security or anything like that. And when Labour says they want to close the migrant hotels, what's going to happen is that they're going to be putting them in these HMOs. And now around 200 local authorities have volunteered to be part of a pilot scheme for this. I mean, this is a disaster waiting to happen, isn't it?
I think so. We've got illegal immigrants who basically has broken into the country of what we know nothing about them, what they've done, what their hinterland is or anything. And, you know, I would agree with you, Will, these people need to be detained and deported. And that's why we'll go back to getting rid of the Rwanda scheme was a massive mistake. We need to be able to get rid of people who've got rid of the passports, but fundamentally, you need to have a correct oversight of them. So to take them out of hotels, which you could actually seal down, contain or whatever, not that I'd be putting them in hotels, I'd be putting them in tents and I'd be, as I said, detaining and deporting them, but to then integrate them into communities and have less oversight, because you're then going to put them into many, many homes with one or two or three in, and then worse still, you're saying, oh, we're going to give you new council homes now. So we need to stop people coming to the country. We've got to stop the draw of people coming here saying we get money, we get a house, we live in the UK. All of that has got to stop.
Jonathan, do you think this man should be deported to Afghanistan?
Well, I don't think he should be in Britain, obviously.
So would you be happy to deport him to Afghanistan? Because that's obviously a point of contention, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people who come from these countries that think that we will never deport them no matter what they do. Whereas if we started sending people like him back to Afghanistan, they might realise that they actually do have to go there if they do something like that.
Patrick, I don't think that anyone has an absolute right to be in this country apart from British citizens. Clearly, there are some things that, in my view, render you ineligible to be in this country. Many people on my side of the fence will disagree with that. I think this is a reasonable position. Clearly, this man is not conducive to the public good. I don't think that's a controversial point.
Can we reframe this around detention? It's obvious now that the government is not going to stop the boats because they're not going to get rid of the legal framework that enables people to come here. They're not going to get rid of the ECHR, all that sort of stuff. So now, I guess the best case scenario is, well, at least are they going to detain these people whilst they are being processed? Surely that is now the conversation we need to have. And I just don't understand why anyone in their right mind would not support the detention of people who may be a threat to the community.
Well, what I can't understand is that stories like this used to be shocking. And they're just not anymore. I mean, they're shocking for the obvious fact of it, but the regularity with which it's happening. I mean, just last week I was at the sentencing of an Iranian illegal migrant that, by the way, I don't think we had any idea was in the country before he sexually assaulted a young teenage girl. These stories seem to be happening over and over and over again now. Almost every day I could report on a case similar-ish. Probably not quite as bad, but similar-ish as this. What's it going to take? For how many more women and girls have to suffer like this for life?
OK, so I think it is still shocking, and I think the public thinks it's shocking. And the more that they are seeing of it, the worse they think it is. And that is why you have actually seen the public take to the streets, the public do marches, the public make demonstrations. And I think the public's probably thinking, my God, what do we need to do to wake up Keir Starmer and his cabinet colleagues to do something? So I think that anger is actually growing in the community, because I know I get emails sent to me, I get people getting in touch with me. They say we are at our wits' end. So I think, you know, Labour government, wake up. I would say the temperature of the country is at boiling point and they need to do something, and it is detention and deport. They've broken in illegally. There would be no sort of... they just need to be straight away detained, deported.
Yeah, and the thing is, I do think that local councils and local police forces know this, which is why all too often they're trying to hide from us when somebody is an asylum seeker or what nationality they are, etc. And it's because, oh, we don't want to stir racial tensions, oh, we don't want to see societal harm, or we don't want to see protests. Well, people wouldn't be out on the streets protesting if it didn't keep happening. They're not solving the problem, are they? They're just trying to hide it from us.
Well, I think there are different issues to consider. First of all, what we were talking about the other day, about the asylum seeker who was convicted of a crime, but the jury hadn't been told about that. I think that's one issue about what juries should be told about people, because they might be prejudiced for various reasons. And there are other things about what police reveal. I think that we should be trying to avoid civil unrest, and we know that obviously crimes by some people get overwhelmingly more attention than crimes by other people, the same crimes. The crimes equally horrific or more so, but obviously we're focusing on them depending on, based on the ethnicity or the immigration status.
It's also the amount of times that these crimes happen. So stats from the Metropolitan Police indicated that in 2024, roughly 47% of sexual assaults were committed by a foreign national, and Afghans are 14.5 times more likely to commit a sexual assault. So people say, oh, they get more attention. They're happening more often.
Yeah, that's the first reason. And the second reason they get more attention is that there is the ability to stop those crimes in the way that is much more difficult to stop crimes committed by someone who has a right to be in the country. In other words, an English citizen. You can stop someone from entering the country and therefore stop the crime from happening. Unfortunately, you're always going to have, violent, awful criminals who are citizens of your country. You do your best to stop those, but you can absolutely stop people who are criminals by stopping them from entering the country in the first place.
All right. OK, all right. Well, look, we're going to move on from that now. I mean, it's a devastating story. It's also the fact, isn't it, that, this guy's got a taxpayer-funded card with pocket money on it, and, we ultimately ended up tracing him because we could tell he'd used that card. So, the British taxpayer has paid for the drinks that he's bought after he's raped someone. I mean, good grief. But, look, absolutely horrendous stuff. I've got a lot